That just looks horrific. You know what would make this better? Adam Sandler and Nick Swardson.
Actually, Adam Sandler and Kevin James.
That would be great.
Paul Blart mustache right there.
That would be great. Yeah, this looks like just typical, like this looks like something that would have come out like straight to video in like 2006. It just looks so bad. It's so bad. It hurts to look at it. God, look at this kid. Look at this kid right here. He doesn't even want to be in this movie. His parents forced him. Let me guess, she's gonna be on her phone and distracted, and they're gonna have to win her attention. Oh God, this looks bad. Awful, awful. What's going on, Unfazed crew? So today we are seeing The Northman.
What's up, NOX fans? So yeah, like you said, we're seeing The Northman.
Very excited about this. In old No Expectations fashion, let's do a little prediction about what we think this movie is about. Personally, I think it's going to be a little bit like Conan the Barbarian. I'm expecting, I don't know if there's going to be magic, but I feel like if there's a tiny bit, I'll be excited, kind of like with Conan.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a little more rooted in reality, though. It's going to be more of like, sort of like a Viking type story. I know it's not Viking era, but something kind of like that, that's just kind of barbaric and intense with a lot of action. But I'd be okay with a little magic. If a little magic was thrown in, that'd be sweet.
I'm mixing it also with Conan the Barbarian. I like that you said that. It literally was on my mind. And very Hamlet too as well, because a revenge film.
Bacon.
So some Mufasa to Lion King references.
That would be nice.
One with the king, like his dad gets killed. Who knows?
Yeah,
but
we'll see what
it
happens.
Seems like a very fun, bloody movie. I know this is directed by Robert Eggers, who did Lighthouse and The Witch.
Big fan of both movies.
So I'm expecting some kind of weird twists and turns in this movie. I know it's going to be probably a cinematography masterpiece because those last two films are just beautiful, and I'm betting he collaborated with the same cinematographer in this film as well.
That'd be great.
He's done it with the last two films.
That'd be cool. Well, I loved both of those movies. And one thing I was really excited about seeing with this is that it's not an A24 film. So don't get me wrong, I love A24 generally. But I think with A24, there's like a 25 to 30% chance now that it's going to suck and fly off the rails.
That's true.
At least in my opinion. There's a lot of A24 movies I've seen where I go in with high hopes, and then I'm just super disappointed. One example would be like, most of the A24s lately, I've been kind of disappointed. X was a disappointment. The Green Knight was a disappointment for me. And looking at this, I thought, oh, here's another intense A24 movie that's not going to live up to the hype. But then I saw it's not an A24 film.
Yeah, I feel
isn't it Fox Searchlight? Or
I think you're right.
Yeah, something like that.
I feel like A24 is becoming like Blumhouse, where Blumhouse used to make great horror films, but now they're just shitting out anything.
Yeah, they're making too many. They're making too many. The quality control's kind of gone down. Don't get me wrong, still an A24 fan, but I'm a little more selective now.
Yeah,
definitely,
same.
a little more selective. So one thing I wanted to say, let's wait for these people to pass and then I'll say it. Thank you for holding. All right, so one thing I'm going to say is Unfazed Weekly Cinema. Nobody's really watching. We're getting like 40 some odd views, 50 some odd views. So for those of you guys who are watching Unfazed Weekly Cinema, I thank you. The rest of you, fuck you. So Unfazed Weekly Cinema obviously has been less and less and less, getting a little more selective with it. So realistically, it's going to become Unfazed like monthly cinema. I'm probably still going to see a lot of movies in between, and I'm just not going to post them every single time I go to the movies because obviously the audience doesn't care. So I hear you loud and clear, and I'm just going to post more like milestone movies, like bigger movies that I'm excited about, special movies. Maybe if there's a Tuesday night classic that's a little more of a big deal, I'll post that, or a big blockbuster movie. I'll post those, but it's going to be less and less. It's going to be more like Unfazed monthly cinema. I might just drop the weekly from the title and call it Unfazed Cinema. But anyway, for those of you guys who are watching, thank you. The rest of you, you're lost. I don't know where you are.
I just want to touch on that real quick.
Please.
So he's not gonna be doing that weekly, but NOX will probably be still doing that.
Yes.
So you're always welcome to just jump on the other channel and
Yes.
enjoy us for a review of like a classic movie or
course.
something new.
Yeah, so hop on over to No Expectations Video Store because we're doing a whole lot more at the movies. So if any of you guys are big fans of Unfazed Weekly Cinema, you can catch essentially the same content over there, just under the No Expectations brand. So definitely, like, I was gonna say, I forget my own shit. Be kind, rewind, subscribe, go over there and check it out. Anyway, we're gonna go watch The Northman and see what it's all about.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We've been waiting for 28 years, Tom. Release it. This is a really cool poster. I'm actually really legitimately looking forward to this.
Which side of this do you really want to be on? I want justice.
It's a long walk.
We all have to die. What's important is what you do.
That was different. He had to kill his uncle first.
I have the cunning to break their minds.
And night by night, we will carry out my pledge of vengeance. I'll kill you if you'll let me.
I just want to say the theater is like insanely packed on the weekend, and it's kind of annoying. No, it's not kind of. It is annoying. We don't like people. All right, so we just got out of seeing The Northman, starring.
Alex Skarsgård.
All right, so we just waited about 10 minutes for the masses of people to exit. It's a lot of people. We were talking about how like before, during 2020 into 2021. It was nice going to the movies with nobody there because everyone was scared to go to the movies. They didn't know the movies were open because
The
there's
social distance, like separation.
yeah,
It was kind of nice.
Yeah, it was super nice. And people were really stupid and didn't know that the movies were open. I think it was half paranoia and half just being oblivious.
Yeah.
But we really enjoyed going to the movies during that time when no one was there because this, I don't know, it's a little too much for me. It's a little too many people that shouldn't be seeing certain types of movies are going to see movies and
Making dumb comments.
coughing constantly. How many times did you hear coughs during the movie? I would say 20 plus times.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was
I
a
went
lot.
to the restroom like at least once, and I came back and someone was just like
Hacking.
hacking along.
Just hacking. And it was like someone in front of us, Gene Hackman in front of us, and then Hacky McGee to our right,
And Anne Hathaway.
and Hackaway,
Yeah.
yes, and the Hackett brothers. But it was a Wings reference, if you're wondering, the TV show Wings from the 90s, the Hackett brothers. Anyway, so yeah, we saw The Northman, sorry, Alexander Skarsgård,
Anna Taylor-Joy.
briefly Willem Dafoe and Ethan Hawke, and briefly Nicole Kidman, her least likable role that I've ever seen. Yeah, this was a really good movie with a lot of flaws.
Yeah,
I would say. Yeah,
I
it's
agree.
really good. The sorry to interrupt you. The action I would say was like 5 out of 5, approaching 5 out of 5 action. Really good, and then a lot of kind of stale, surreal parts in the middle that could have been condensed.
Yeah, I would agree. Like really good action, great movie. Like I said, I predictions like a Hamlet, definitely a Hamlet.
Mhm. The guy's name is close to Hamlet.
Yeah, it was Amleth, which
Yeah.
I think spells Hamlet rearranged.
Interesting.
I think.
It felt very Shakespearean.
Yes,
Yes.
but like a lot of action, good blood. Practical effects too, which I like, was great.
Yeah,
The
they're
one thing I
really
don't
good practical effects.
You want to go like talk about like what you didn't like in the film a little bit, and then get back to the positives.
So yeah, we'll start with the negatives and then we'll shift over into the positives. So I'll let you kick off the negatives.
Negatives, I just didn't like the weird dream sequences. I think we discussed this. It did feel like an A24 film a little bit, like too much. I know
lot.
the director has worked with A24 in the past with his past 2 movies, but I was hoping something a little bit different with this film, and it was just a little bit overbearing with that little dream sequences. It was just goofy. It was silly.
I agree. I would say the same. I'm going to say this now, and I think a lot of people like this, but a lot of people don't like it and don't get it as well. In our current time, listen for this door here. It's really loud. Wait for it. Wait for it. There we go. In our current time, like surreal films and kind of abstract filmmaking is becoming mainstream. It's becoming mainstream. You see it with the Northman. We saw it in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Even in very, very mainstream Hollywood films, like you're seeing stuff with the multiverse, which is cool. It has its pluses. But in a lot of these movies, they're taking a little too many liberties and getting a little too weird.
Yeah,
because they think that's what people want, but it gets a little too artsy.
Yeah, it was way too artsy in this film. Like, I don't think it was needed. It could have been gone out of the film. I was like, cool, these great little shots. Like, it's an art piece. But I'm like, we didn't need it. I love the aspect of like how it felt like a Conan O'Brien
movie. I would have loved that.
Conan the Barbarian
Coco.
film. Yes.
Conan O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien as a barbarian. Yeah, but it felt like a Conan the Barbarian film.
In parts.
Aspects. And then it's just
actually, I would say they borrowed
a lot.
Getting close to ripping off parts of Conan the Barbarian.
I mean, maybe Robert Eggers, director, was probably very
big fan,
inspired by the film.
Yeah,
and of course Shakespeare as well too. But there was a lot of Conan-esque.
Yes, the opening, spoiler alert, big spoiler alert. The opening sequence, parental beheading, same as Conan the Barbarian. Another part where he gets Crom's sword in Conan the Barbarian, the first one. Very similar sequence to that, where they took a few liberties, made it a little different, but very similar.
That was the only like dream-ish sequence that was cool.
That was one of the best sequences in the film.
I would say, yeah. I think favorite scene, that scene.
Same. I would say so. So let's continue with the negatives, then we'll heap some praise on it. Negatives, I would say, so now it's like mainstream to make weird, surreal, artsy choices in films. It's like kind of expected now. I think because A24 is so popular, even though this is not an A24 film, it's become kind of accepted. And I think it's almost kind of lame now when they do it. Like, I kind of don't like it. Like, when they're getting too artsy and pulling away from traditional storytelling, it's kind of been done a little too much. It's been done to death. And I'm kind of getting tired of it.
I feel like with the next few years, we're going to get a lot of that in films, especially because A24 is like a powerhouse right now.
Yeah. It's almost too much for me.
It is too much. With this film, it was a lot, and I don't know, it really did bug me with these scenes, because I'm like, it's just could have been thrown out of the movie. We could have trimmed. This movie was like, what, 2.5 hours? Almost 2.5 hours?
Could have been like an hour and 55 perfection.
We could have trimmed it,
movie.
maybe just, like you said, hour 55, maybe 2 hours, but it was a little too long.
Yeah, I think had they taken more elements of Conan the Barbarian and made it more of a straightforward action movie, it could have been great. It was still really good, and like I said, we'll get to that. But yeah, the dream sequences, the surreal sequences were a bit much. It got a little stale and stagnant, I'm going to say about an hour in. Like, there was a half hour to 35 minutes that they could have shaved out completely. Yeah, definitely. I just kind of wanted to get to the action. And by the end, I hate to admit it, but I was checking my watch. I was checking my watch the last, 40 minutes probably. But that being said, let's talk about some of the positives. So first of all, the action was fantastic. If I go back and watch this, it would be mostly to go back and watch the clips. We're going to pause because these people are loud. But yeah, the action was absolutely incredible. It was like exactly what you want out of that type of film. Just like barbaric, gritty. I would love to see a pirate movie be that gritty. That would be really sick. And I was saying, is it Robert Eggers?
Robert Eggers, yeah.
Robert Eggers, the director. We were saying it would be really neat if he were at the helm of a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
I think if he had a tight script and could stay a little more focused. I love his direction, and his cinematographer is just absolutely brilliant. I don't know the name of the cinematographer.
I forget too. He collaborated.
I'll insert it. I'll insert a shout out to the cinematographer, because absolutely brilliant, and also really good set design in this film. So that was fantastic. If anything, I'll go back and watch it just for those amazing fight sequences and just the sheer brutality of it, which was fantastic. The action was a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, action 5 out of 5.
Yes.
Performances, they were alright. I think I like Alex Skarsgård. I think out of the Skarsgård brothers, I like him the most.
I agree.
Last time we saw him like this big, but actually he's way bigger in this film. It was
he's jacked. Yeah,
he's like jacked in this film.
Yeah,
so
he's Hugh jacked, man.
Hugh Jack, man.
Yeah,
he did a great job, and he did
good.
Characters.
He did good.
Yeah, as a monster, as a beast, as they portray in this film. Like,
I'd like to see him in a Western.
Dude, okay, so that's what I was thinking with this film too. It had very Western cowboy vibes, because like the revenge. Very. Yeah, if you watch it, like really analyze it, how like everything was, like with the revenge, and like I'm gonna kill your brother, and they go down this town, and like he didn't like people getting like raped and murdered. He didn't want to kill any woman. And stuff. He was very like the good cowboy. The
traditional hero. Yeah.
So that's what I really liked about this. It was a little, like I would say, a spaghetti Western mixed with like a Shakespeare film, mixed with some other like Arnold film, like, Conan.
Yeah, and bits of Star Wars too. The traditional hero story tale,
There were scenes that were very Star Wars like.
Definitely. Even that ending. Spoiler alert. You can kind of see part of it in the trailer, though.
Yeah.
He's fighting by a volcano, and literally the bad guy has the high ground.
Yep.
Not saying that Obi-Wan's the bad guy, but you get what I'm saying. That whole fight sequence was very, very Star Wars Episode
yeah.
3.
Yep.
But yeah, it was very successful in a lot of parts, but it also could have been a whole heck of a lot better. It really did feel like an A24 film. The most A24 feeling film I've ever seen that wasn't an A24 film.
Yeah, this one I was like from the start of the film. I wanted, like, I was enjoying it. I was really liking it.
Yeah.
And then just the pacing.
I started checking out a little about. I would say a little after an hour.
Well, yeah, I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I think I would go back and watch this film multiple times because it had a very Conan the Barbarian feel.
Very
to it.
Conan, yeah.
And then it just kind of like, I see what he didn't want to be that. He wanted to be his own.
But I kind of wanted it to be more Conan.
I wanted it to be.
I wanted it to be more Conan, yeah.
Like you said in the predictions in the beginning, you said magic.
There were parts of it that, sorry, getting a lot of my thumb there.
Was it magic?
There's parts of it that seemed like magic, and then I think they could have just been hallucinations.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like,
yeah.
So I mean, there was, it was all dream sequences and surrealness. Like, I don't know if it was magic itself.
Yeah, but either way, that kind of stuff. The fight with the dead king in there, pretty badass.
That was the coolest.
Pretty badass. So yeah, as far as this movie goes, as far as being like a recommendation, I would say maybe wait for it to come onto HBO or something. It's cool on the big screen, but it's really long and it's kind of just, you're kind of in it just for the action sequences. That being said, though, still a beautiful movie. I still think they were successful. They did a really good job. Sorry,
no, go ahead, finish yours.
This one gets a 3.5 from me.
3.5.
Not a 3.6 like Conan the Barbarian, but it's a 3.5. They did really good, and that's mostly for the action. That's mostly for the action and for the cinematography. The rest of it needs improvement, I think. I think the script could have been a little bit tighter. There could have been just better pacing, I think. But yeah, the action and the cinematography make it a successful film overall.
I will agree. I am going to also give this a 3.5. This will probably be my favorite Robert Eggers film. I wasn't a big fan of The Lighthouse. I know you liked it a lot.
I enjoyed The Lighthouse.
I thought it was a typical A24 film.
Too artsy, yeah.
It was very artsy.
I think I'd rewatch The Lighthouse before I'd rewatch this.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll go back and watch it. The performance in The Lighthouse is great. But this film, I was like, I love the action.
The action was great.
And the bloody gruesome in this, too, for like, it has that Conan the Barbarian feel that I enjoy.
Yes.
At least for like the first hour is just great in this film. The last hour is just like you check out a little bit, but then it brings you back in with the conclusion. So yeah, final thoughts was 3.5. I would have to agree.
Would you say theater worthy for the viewers?
I think yes and no. For the theater worthy, if you're gonna see this in the theater, I would see it like in Dolby or IMAX, something with more sound. Like we just went the standard one. I think it would have brought our experience a little bit better because there's a lot of like the scores that go loud and a lot of bass with the drums and everything. I think it would brought me in there a little bit more. But you can wait for this for HBO, like you said. But if you really want to check this out, if you love Skarsgård, Alex Skarsgård, this would be a good movie for you to see.
It's a good one.
If you're a big fan for that, I'll recommend it.
It's good, but like I said, could have been a little better paced, but the action was pretty badass. So a success overall, but at the end of the day, I'm just going to go back and watch Conan the Barbarian way more times. But still, it was cool. Glad we watched it. Anyway, guys, remain unfazed and be kind.
Rewind.
And subscribe. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Woo.